Hello and welcome to the Golden Bee Revolution here at Star TV. This is our special episode that is used in the lead as we bring you another interesting episode today. But before we go further, we want to send a hearty congratulations to our gallant Scorpion for taking us this far. You know, we all knew that the Gambia has never qualified for the AFCON, but Alhamdulillah, this time around they have they have taken our flag very high and in fact high height. So we look forward to welcoming them here at Banjul International Airport. So the whole country should go there and then cheer up the Scorpions because they have done something that is going down in the history of the Gambia. Before we proceed, I want to say that this is a platform for the young people that we give it. In case you are a potential youth leader or in fact a change maker or an agent, this is a platform for you, and then we are going to definitely get to every youth in this country to be able to bring them here. And then for the potential sponsors also, this is a platform that you can bump in to come and sponsor in case you want to reach to the wider audience. You can reach out to Golden Bee Revolution here at Star TV and we are going to get you covered. With me here in the studio I have the speaker of the National Youth Council, there who is no other person than Umar National Youth Parliament. I'm sorry for that. We'll welcome to the platform where youth championing is championed, Umar Champion Champ.
Thank you so much. I am enticed, by the introduction. Greetings, the special audience. Of course, my name is Omar Cham, currently serving as the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament. I think this is my second time on this platform, basically. So I am so much honored to be here once again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Champion Cham, for honoring our invitation. We are very much glad that we have you here today. One might ask, who is Omar Champion Cham?
Yeah, thank you. Who is Omar Champion Cham? Of course, as everyone might know, my official name is Omar Cham, and then parliamentarily I'll be called Honorable Omar Cham, and politically I'll be called Omar Champion Cham. Basically, a young person currently serving as the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament of the Gambia, a final year student of the University of the Gambia under the Faculty of Law, the initiator, that is the founder of the Cham Poetry, and as well a public speaker at the same time, a kind of a leadership mentor, and I think I will leave the rest for the show.
That's really inspirational. You are not only a speaker of the National Youth Council, but you are also
Parliament.
Sorry, I'm saying National Assembly, National Youth Parliament, and then you are also a poet. In fact, a champion poet for that matter. What inspired your journey into poetry? I know this is going to be a very much challenging question, but
yeah, it's lovely. Thank you so much. It's really I think it's been an honor to become a poet, because this is something that not everybody can be able to do and so on. So what inspired me to become a poet could be a little bit coincidental or accidental, or some other term might be used, because what happened was, because I was part of the brightest students in my primary school. Traditionally in the Gambia, when you're part of the brightest students, any activity that comes in, you're used for that. Exactly. Either quiz, debate, or any other thing. So that was how it started, basically. I was actually commended for being a good student. So in poetry competitions, I've been used to write poems. But what used to happen was, when I write, I'm not able to write very well. So usually my teachers would help me complete those poems and read them. So when that happened, I can remember when I got to junior school, there was this competition I took part in. No, I think it was in grade 6, yes. And then I could not even win it. I took second. So when that happened, I felt like I think I'll make a great poet. So I started, writing my own poems gradually and so on. So when I got to high school, of course at Nusrat, where you have all the forms of brains meeting, so I started writing my poems, but to some extent I thought I was not good, so I was hiding my write-ups until one day when one of my good friends, Ablai, saw my poetry book, and he was very astonished. He was like, how is it possible you're hiding this? I was like, no, it's not that. I was just planning to release it one day. So he actually, you know, forced me to perform in front of the class, and when I did, everyone loved it. That is, I could say that is where the journey began, and we still went ahead to attend this very important book launch, which was held by Dr. Mamadou Sala at the American Corner, and the performances there were just amazing. So they were so impressed that they wanted us to as well do something similar. So we decided to come together as young Gambians and publish our first poetry book, an anthology of poems. You know, Harvest of Gambian Lives, an anthology of poems. Yeah, I think it was about 15 of us poets, and it was about 200 poems. We published them in 2014, and you know, everything started to grow from there, and started taking part in competitions, winning 1, 2, and so on. But I think the basic temple of evolution actually was the National Poetry Slam. When I took part in it, and then somehow
that was when you ignite the
exactly you know, somehow I was not among the favorites when the competition started. You know, but when it got to the, in fact, I remember in the first round I almost got dropped. Yeah, because I could not get the required mark. It was because of the fact that one more slot was needed, and I was, you know, I was more or less the best loser. So I got through, and then, you know, as we got into the next rounds, people started to see that this guy might win it. So when we got to the final, it was very clear. Like, I think the performances were just outstanding. And that was how I won the Poetry Slam. And to be honest, even though there was not much accolade in terms of material and finance, but it gave a wider, you know, space for influence in terms of poetry. And that is how the growth actually took place. Decided to, you know, launch few audios and videos, you know, did few performances, people got impressed. And aside that, now here we are en route to my
World Championship. Yes. That was a very interesting and a fascinating, in fact, very inspirational story about how you get into the poetry. I'm sure the young poets who are aspiring to become a poet like you are really watching, and they are going to be inspired by this story and realize that, you know, it's not over until it is all over. That was very good. So poetry aside, let's come back to the National Youth Parliament. Let me be very careful now to not say National Youth Council.
I know, right? Yeah.
So the National Youth Parliament, you are the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament. What is the work of the National Youth Parliament, you know, to somebody who has never heard of the National Youth Parliament?
Thank you so much. That's an interesting question. So the National Youth Parliament is basically a non-profit and a non-partisan youth organization that was established to take a lead, you know, in representing the voices of young people. And young people in this circumstance means the youth, of course. So how we do this is through, you know, our collective participation in national development, in involvement of the young people into national discourses, and creating a platform via which people can take part in development, but also promoting the rights of the young people and creating awareness. So we actually operate on some key fundamental areas. We call them thematic areas, and they are good governance and democracy, environmental protection, gender mainstreaming, you have reproductive health, and as well road safety. So our initiatives actually come through capacity building programs, you know, nationwide sensitization, social media campaigns, you know, seminars, intergenerational dialogue, interfaith, etc., etc.
In fact, when you said that, I will recall that the National Youth Parliament, the last time, or late last year, when I embarked on a national sensitization tour on voter registration. How are you able to work on this? Is there any potential sponsors or partners that you create to be able to roll out some of these activities?
Yeah, so thank you very much. So we held a nationwide sensitization around the country to sensitize the young people on the importance of voting, how to vote, why to vote, where to vote, some of the do's and the don'ts of voting, and so on. And then basically, for that actually particular project, we were sponsored by the British High Commission, BHC, and they have not been our only sponsors, but I think they've been very much amazing for that project. Our other sponsors, of course, will include the UNFPA, the UNDP, the International Republican Institute, etc., have actually as well helped in certain activities. But for the voter education that we conducted for that was sponsored by the BHC. But that was the one that we conducted as NEC, the National Executive Committee. Well, yeah. But then aside that too, we had another voter education, which were conducted through our memberships in the regions, and that was sponsored by the International Republican Institute. So we ensure that whatever we do, there is a bit of decentralization to ensure that the grassroots are also reached.
Now, how much will you have rate the voter registration that you have embarked upon? Because we have seen how the election was conducted, how it has gone, and then how some of the things that surrounds the election. Would you say that that campaign that you embarked upon with regards to voter sensitization and also registration sensitization, because I could recall that you start since registration time. Yeah. So would you say this whole activities is a success?
Yeah, it was a massive success because if you look at some of the statistics of our voter turnouts, I think it has been horrible, the election before this. So this year, at least, we're able to attain about 89%, of voter turnout.
And what was the previous turnout for?
I think it was 58, if
58,
I get it right. Yeah,
yeah.
It was very poor. Actually, we might not be able to take the entire credit. Of course, we will not be able to, but we contributed immensely towards that because we understood that in order to ensure that people turn out to vote, you don't limit it to just sensitizing people when it's time to vote.
Okay.
Because what you understood was, in order to vote, you must have a voter's card first.
Right.
But in order to get a voter's card, sometimes we need to go to the people and tell them that this is why it's to get a voter's card. So we ensured that we conducted a voter registration campaign first into everywhere in the country. Went around the country alongside other civil society organizations, made sure that people came out in their numbers and registered to vote. And thanks to Allah, when we came back, to remind them that, okay, we came here the other time to tell you to register to vote. Now you have the voter's card. We are reminding you to come and vote.
Time for vote. Okay.
And fortunately, it went our way, and the turnout was just massive. And we are very grateful that the young people have answered to our call. The young people, the women, and people with persons with disabilities. Yeah.
All right. You are the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, and there is a National Youth Council.
Yes.
And then both the bodies are somehow charged with responsibilities of trying to manage the affairs of the youth. Now, is there any cordial relationship or partnership per se with the National Youth Council and the National Youth Parliament?
Thank you very much. So the National Youth Council is the parent body for all youth organizations in the country, and any youth organization that wants to get established or wants to operate, you should have an affiliation with them. So we actually register with the National Youth Council as a national youth organization, and they're the ones that serve as the bedrock for youth organizations in the country. They supervise and coordinate the activities of youth organizations. That is how related we are. And fortunately, our offices are in the same building.
Okay, that's really very interesting. But like when it comes to rolling out the activities, most of the times do you go side by side with the National Youth Council in terms of giving for them to give you about some capacity buildings or so in regards to rolling out your activities?
Okay, so I think throughout my tenure, I'm not sure we've had any capacity building, but we've been able to collaborate. I can remember during the voter registration campaign that we conducted, we did it in collaboration with them. In fact, a lot of the things that were supposed to be done were done by them before the activity. And the other thing too is they do give technical support when the need arises in certain areas of concentration. And in fact, at this point where there is a particular project we're looking forward to having with a particular donor, we had to go through them. So we have a very good, fantastic, cordial, relationship.
Okay, that's wonderful. In fact, I brought the National Youth Council here, and then I could remember the official told me that in fact, at the National Youth Council, they have a package for the young people. And then because you are the National Youth Parliament, and then this will prompt me to say that the National Assembly election is fast approaching, and then we have a National Youth Parliament. At your level, are you encouraging young people to take up and then to go and take up this mantle of leadership, instead of being at the back seat, calling or shouting for the old people? Don't you think it is time for the young people to participate in the National Assembly elections? And if so, at your level, at the National Youth Parliament, are you really doing something to encourage young people to go in for these National Assembly elections?
Thank you so much. So the National Youth Parliament basically encourages young people to take part in politics, but not as clappers or cheerers, or as campaign managers, but as contestants. Exactly. So what we usually do is to, create the opportunity to encourage young people to take part in politics. And just before I arrived for the show, I received an email regarding a meeting we're supposed to have, of course, with activists and other youth organizations for the Not Too Young to Run initiative, which actually welcomes young people that want to take part in national assembly elections to come on board and, contest and be given all the required support and encouragement. So because the National Youth Parliament is non-partisan, yes, we find it difficult to
go an extra mile.
Exactly. But the good news is as well, we have two members of the National Youth Parliament that actually want to contest in National Assembly elections, and by virtue of such, they will resign from the National Youth Parliament. Yes, but we'll be delighted to see them in the National Assembly because they've got the required experience. They've been in National Youth Parliament, so when they get in National Assembly, I think they will do justice to the work.
But do we see, or do we foresee the National Youth, the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament contesting the parliamentary elections?
Unfortunately, not this time.
So, so do we say, or do we conclude that the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament is running for this particular one?
Not really.
Well,
not really.
It's time, and the time is now.
Yeah, the time is now, but sometimes you have to assess what is at stake if you to take up certain
Are you scared?
No, it's not about being scared. It's basically about the fact that I'm given a 3-year term at the National Youth Parliament, and I serve just 1 year.
But there's something called resignation. Resignation?
Yeah, I could have resigned, but I think if you look at our growth right now and what we're doing, it might affect the growth of the organization. So I don't think there's any need to rush. We have other very capable young people that are coming up. So we want to make sure that we build a National Youth Parliament that is going to leave a legacy as far as our national discourses are concerned, so that the moment I leave that office, any person that comes there would know that this is not child's play.
But don't you think you'll make a very good National Assembly member than being a Speaker of the National Assembly? There at the National Assembly, you'll make a greater impact than being the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament.
I'll be a fantastic National Assembly member. I agree. In fact, I'm going to be one of the best National Assembly members. But I think, there are circumstances that are guiding this decision.
Okay, let's say the Speaker, Omar Champion does not want to go into the National Assembly now. So we conclude that.
That would be an allegation.
Okay. So before the win, May 12, the nation is going to witness another historic event, and that is the launching of your album. If I could go at Samagayana Hall, right?
No, at Benjamin
Hall. At Benjamin Hall. So what can you tell us about this before the win album launching? This is
massive. It gets me excited when I'm asked this question. So before the win, as you can hear, if you hear from the name, you might have a taste of an inspiration or motivation behind it. It's basically an encapsulation of some of the authentic life events that have taken place before we're able to attain our goals, our dreams, our aspirations. Basically containing some of the most, sorrowful, some of the saddest, and some of the most painful experiences that young people face en route to attaining what they want to attain. And this is not limited to just your personal experience, but also the experience of others here, that of the society, that of the country, like as a nation. So that is basically what Before the Win is about. And the album contains 25 poems, massive, and a few featurings as well. And at the poetry album launch, we're going to have poetry performances, musical performances, we'll have dances, we'll have a lot of things. Like, it's going to be a whole package of artistry.
So but as you prepare for the May 12, and that is before the Win album launching, are there any challenges that you are facing already that you might want to have support?
Yeah, I think it's been customary that usually when you have shows in the Gambia, you face challenges of financial support. And that is one thing that we're facing right now. If you would understand that sometimes it's crazy. So, but I'm actually, we've written to some institutions and we didn't follow up. In fact, last week we had a meeting with one, and on Thursday we'll have a meeting with 2 others. We hope that it will go well, but we are calling on everybody to come out and support individuals that could render their financial assistance, and also institutions or organizations or companies that would really love to help. Will be so much open and delighted to receive your assistance.
You are not just a poet, you are a champion poet, a Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, and then in fact a former Secretary General at the University, at the Gambia College Union. Am I right?
Not really.
Okay. So, but like
actually, I'm just so much into volunteerism, so I had helped the union.
Okay. Okay. Very well. So, but you are not just that poet that everybody will know, but you are a champion point. Don't you think it could have been very easier for you when you partner and then write for donors and then sponsorship from many institutions with regards to this launching that you have?
Yeah, it could have been. In fact, there are some people that told me, champion, with all the things that you've done for this country, with all your poetry influence and so on, I think the donors would have come running to help you and so on.
How about government agencies? Are there any sign of coming out to help? Because this is not about helping champion. This is about helping shape the young people. There are many people who are looking up to you who want to stake their own albums. Let's say this late this year or early next year. So you going to set the pace. I think you really need that support from the government side to be able to help you take this successfully, and then that's going to inspire so many young people to also follow suit. Don't you think this is?
Yeah, I'm a bit optimistic that there will be help from the government because we wrote to them and even their satellite institutions.
Okay.
We wrote to every aspect, every sector. We wrote to the government. We wrote to the private sector as well. We wrote to the companies, etc. Hopefully something good is going to come. But when it comes to support for this, it's never enough. So the more support we receive, the better. And the more fascinating the event will be. And like you said, it's going to be groundbreaking. Yeah. And a lot of young people will be inspired to also do something similar. And the people that are going to be gathered there are going to hear things that are going to move with them for the rest of their lives. So it is a worthy cause. So
worthy cause, that's right. Now, as the Speaker of the National Youth Council, now, do you have any advisory role or in terms of policy or whatever to the to the Ministry of Youth and Sport or to the government of the Gambia per se?
Yeah, legally we're not mandated to do that because of the fact that sometimes when you say we have advisory role, just to make sure that it is very clear. Okay. Yeah, we're not legally mandated, but as a youth organization that is geared towards representing the voice of young people, we do advise, all sectors as far as youth development is concerned. Yes. Most especially through the National Youth Council, and we do conduct dialogues, whereas young people would face, with the authorities and have discussions on thematic areas that are affecting young people. In fact, last year we were able to have a meeting with the Minister of Youth and Sports, to discuss on certain areas of our interest, as far as national youth organizations are concerned, and then how we think he could really assist the work of the young people. And when we have events, we also make sure that we invite them, the policy makers.
So, but what has been their response normally when you have capacity buildings or trainings or events? What has been the response from the government or Ministry of Youth and Sport per se with regards to your call?
Yeah, they've been very positive, to be quite candid. I think the minister is a very cool guy, and he's someone that actually took part in youth activism before he took up this career actually. So he understands the plight of the youth, and I think that is an advantage. However, we will still want to see more,
from the side of the government,
from their side, and also we want to see him do more, etc. But the responses have been very effective, and I think he's very open. I can remember when we went there for our meeting, we didn't even book an appointment. We just went and we were like, "I want to see the minister," and the secretary was like, "Do you have an appointment?" We were like, "No, we don't." But he was able to understand, and we met him.
Thank you very much for that. And then with that, from the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, Omar Championship, we'll head to our first break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back to continue the show here at Star TV. Is the Golden Bee Revolution Youth in the Lead?
Tears have refused to cease flow from our vulnerable eyes. Of the crimes we were compelled to commit when our thoughts were less wise, when promises were lies, when our stained souls refused to rise, when greed guided our actions against what our anthems and pledges symbolize, turning our world into a lifeless, lightless hell, more disturbing than a wrong bell, more discomforting than a prison cell, more disregarded than a waterless well. If this is our story to tell, should we be forgiven or should we pay the price? Our hardened hearts were the cutting clippers of the atrocities we committed. Hunt for power was why we perpetually perpetrated. Our ruthless supplications became gun to the head, broken leg, bloody bed, Everything red except the hearts that turned dark with no action vindicated. What the wicked mind selected, what the bloody brains directed, what the brutal hands executed, what the testimonies reported, what commissioners recorded, what the media broadcasted, what the public detected. We are sorry and we've apologized. You may consider our request we've regretted. Kon budé bugon dundin wu rafeta taxon ñu daan tour deret. Réccu rendi nañu tere ñu reen ndax mënu ñoo jot sin bébét. Sin ëlëk lëndëm ñu ru sëgg ñëw waat dëgg ngir jéggal ñu jàngee si nandee si lépp lu bon leen ko moytu ñu wax dëgg bañ gëdd juboo bokk namp benn ween fas ene lu fi amoon bu mu fi amati tax ñu ne never again. Shall a single soul dictate our lives and put us all in pain? Never again. Shall our fundamental human rights be abused in vain? Never again. Shall we use arms against the innocent for a loss of lives we can't regain? Never again. Shall rape, torture and maltreatment exist if peace should reign? Never again. Shall we tolerate the frowning faces of tribalism and infectious illness of religious intolerance? Never again. Shall any president or government be given glorious guts to stamp on the teachings of the Constitution or stain the integrity of our public institutions? Kadu nyaton kaya manke mansayati, no maro manke jongyati, nyo moyoni makoy rolong na yirwa kanakati. Kukurumbal ketano koma berina bagu kutaya mantati. Fonse karangado, ikana senka na barol sewati. Wata fele nimisata nimisa ya bala. Be yam fo dane lano. Alse yam fam bela. Mbesa yam fanyola kaironi nyato taye sabati. As we remember that in defense of our fundamental human rights and growing democracy, the law would take its share of the cake in its obligatory duty, through the lenses of impartiality, through the spirit of neutrality, in avoiding reoccurrence of atrocities and appreciate life security. This is not a witch hunt or a restoration of hate. It is a strive to discover the truth and reconcile in good faith. Justice against injustice, purity against impurity, unity against disunity, democracy against impunity. Then we will free our hearts in freedom. Forgive, not forget, but foresee future favors in the form of national unity. We may forgive to forget if we cannot forget to forgive. If not forgetting to forget is not a form of forgiving. Forgiveness forms my favorite form of forgetting. So never again shall we allow dictatorship in this country. Never again shall we in advance call a perpetrator a trash in a trash can to be trash in jail. Never again shall any evidence be tampered with if our desirous urge to find the truth shall not fail. Never again shall any victim or victim's relative take the law into their own hands if they want peace to prevail. Never again shall we allow the past to derail our beautiful coexistence, love and harmony if our stateship shall sail. That despite the past horror and sorrow, we still have a nation to build. To keep the smiling cause smiling. To let our pain heal, to keep our peaceful flag flying. To restore love and hope in everyone. To keep our stars shining. If this becomes our code in all that we seek to do, one day the perpetrator will say, "I love you," as the victim will respond, "I love you too."
Welcome back after that short break. This is the Golden Bee Revolution. In case you are just tuning in, we're talking about our theme that we have, and this is special discussion, youth in the lead. And then that was Omar Champion Cham, the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, discussing some issues with us here. And in the studio now, we are joined by Kadir Silla, is an author and a university student. Welcome to the studio, Kadir Silla.
Okay, thank you very much, Kutubo, and I would say good afternoon to all the viewers out there. I'm very, very happy to be here with you.
Thank you very much for honoring our invitation. We are much glad to have you here. Who is Kadir Silla?
Okay.
and at some point, we will want to know, why is Kadir Silla late, or is it the traffic? So you could make recommendations for National Road Authority to at least, widen up the road so that we can have a flow of traffic.
Sure.
So, yes, Kadi.
Sure, I will apologize first for coming late. I can say it was because of the traffic. I live in a very far place, so in fact to get a vehicle at times is very, very difficult. Right.
So
most of the time I'm always late for my lectures.
So with regards to that, what recommendation can you give to national authorities?
Yeah, I would recommend provide a lot of public buses and stuff like that, transportation to take people from one place.
But if you still have more buses, don't you think it's going to be the same traffic congestion?
Yeah, sure.
Because
and also expandment of roads.
Okay.
We need that.
Okay. Yes, Kadi.
Yeah, I'm Kadi Kesila, as you rightly said. I have attended Union Primary School, then to Mindau, then proceed to Sheikh Hamdan Senior Secondary School, and I did commerce as my field of major at senior school. Then from there I proceeded to Gambia College, where I did my PTC, Primary Teacher Certificate, and then I was posted to Nyomi, served 3 years there as my teaching practice. Then later I came back to Abuko Law Basic School, and I've also proceeded to UTG and studying journalism.
So you now divert to journalism, and you're now a runaway teacher.
Not actually.
Yes, you did. Why do you leave?
I still love the teaching.
You still love, but you're not doing it now. All right, thank you very much for that brief introduction. Kadi, you are an author, a very good writer, and in fact, early this year, you won an award at the University of Gambia. Can you tell us something about this?
Yes, my writing career started when I was going to senior school, but I can say back days in my junior school, I used to love reading. I read a lot of books. It went to a point that I'd hardly pass a paper written in English without picking and reading. So my desire for reading, I can say, pushed me to become a writer. So when I get into the senior secondary school, I have a very good English teacher there, Mr. Kutubo. Recently, he's at the university. He's a lecturer there. So what he could encourage me was like, Kadike, go and write any nonsense that you feel like writing and bring it to me. I think I will be able to get the sense that you're trying to write. So that was how I started my writing career. And I can say what motivated me most was in my senior school days, I can say that most of the literature books, though I did commerce, but I did literature, most of the literature books were written by either Ghanaians or Nigerians. So I always tell myself that I think we need to have Gambian books, because it's easier for you to develop love and also understand a particular material if it depicts your culture, tells things about your people, about the names that included are your names, for example, the places mentioned, they are captured there, are also your places. I think it motivates you to read more. So that was why I said I think I need to get into writing, to write novels, to write poems, to write dramas for the future. In fact, it's going to serve as a reserve for the future generation coming to know about our culture. That's why most of my writing are basically typical Gambian.
Sure. Now, that was a very good story about how you begin to develop that sense of love writing. So, but can you tell us something about the award that you received at the UTG Awards night?
That award came to me as a surprise, of course, because I know we have a lot of great writers at the university, a lot of them. So, and myself, I have never written and published anything on any of the platforms. What I did was to write my stories, to write my novels and whatever, and keep them with myself. And also, I take them to somebody to edit, things like that. So when this award came, it was one of my friends, Binta, who told me like, there will be an award tonight and writers are also going to be awarded. Why not you try your chance and send in your materials? I told her, come on, we have a lot of great writers at the university, so I don't think I can get anything. She told me, come on, just try. It's going to serve as a motivation to you, even if you did not get any award, but at least you may know your standard. Yes. You may know your stand. So I said, okay, that was the time I decided to send 3 of my books. I wrote 3 books that I already print out. I have both the soft copy and the hard copy. So I decided to send my books in, and the awards night, I was just shocked when my name was mentioned, when I was called on stage. I mean, it was a surprise. Huge. Yeah, it was a surprise to me.
And then, in fact, not only me, but Mr. Champion will be wondering, why is Kadi hiding his work? Why are you writing books, print them out and keep them with you, and you don't want to share your work for now? Why?
I will say I want to see my work, but at the beginning of my writing was like I write for myself at first. Writing served as a mode of a motivation to me at first. I try to console myself by writing because I live in a very lonely life, very sad and lonely life. So anytime I feel very depressed, what I could do is to write my mind off and keep them. And anytime I read them, I feel comfortable. They comfort me, serve as comfort to me. So until then, when I was going to the college, one of my teachers saw my material and told me, wow, so you wrote this? I think this would be very good if you try to do something like you publish them for people to also go through them and read. So that was at the time I started the process of publishing the books, but you know, it's not easy in the Gambia.
Very well. Yeah. This is a very fascinating story, Mr. Cham. And then that was very inspirational.
Yeah.
And then I will come back to you that in this country, when it comes to poetry, and in fact, I know you are not only a poet, but you are very good. You are also a prolific writer. So, but like, and then you have so many young people who are looking up to you in terms of poetry. What message do you have for those people who want to say, I want to be like Champion Cham?
Thank you very much. First, I want to congratulate Kadi for taking up, you know, the engagement of being a writer. I know how
also for appearing late.
No, that was not our fault. You know, so I think being a writer in the Gambia could be very much challenging, and there are less opportunities. And when you want to do big things, it's always very difficult. So knowing that, I think I have to congratulate her for really taking up the step of doing so. So when it comes to the people that want to become like champion, especially in the aspect of poetry, I just want to tell you that you could even be bigger than champion. You could be better than champion, because there are now more opportunities, more platforms to be able to become a great poet. Because when I started doing my poetry, there was absolutely no motivation when it comes to the outside.
And now the only platforms are here.
Yeah, exactly. The only motivation that came maybe could be the challenges, you know. And then even though that was good, but there could be a better way of motivating someone. So we have to also thank certain people for creating the required platform, the likes of Mulo for the Poetry Slab, National Poetry Slab. I think it has gone a long way in producing, you know, bright talent,
and also showcasing young talent.
Exactly, showcasing young talent and so on. So I encourage you to do as much as you can, but most importantly, please write, because that is the primary foundation in becoming a good writer or a good poet. No matter how much ideas you have in your mind, if you do not write them down, it means you're just wasting them. So write as much as you can, and it doesn't have to be great. You know, it doesn't have to be good. You just have to write it.
You have to start from somewhere.
Exactly. Start from somewhere and go on. Like sometimes when I look at the first poems that I did, I feel embarrassed because these are poems I would never want to see them. I don't want to see them out. But you know, at some point I feel proud too that at the end of the day, after a few years, I'm able to reach this level, a totally different level, in terms of diction, in terms of technique, in terms of style, etc. etc. Everything. Everything just evolved.
Okay. Yes, Kadi, if you look at this country, we have this notion or this norm that women will want to hide. They will not want to come forward, you know, speak their mind. In fact, they will want to attend TV shows. They always want to be in the back seat, you know, always having this mindset that, okay, you know, this is for the men. And then now we have Kadi Kesila writing books. Why is this so?
Oh, thank you very much, Kutubo, for that wonderful question. I can say that's why when Mr. Se went through my books, he was like telling me that, Kadi, do you want to be a feminist? No. Because like what I did was most of my writing, especially my poems, it tells the pains of women and women hiding there with their pains. Because I know that there are a lot of women hiding, you know, with so many wonderful stories, so many painful stories that if they are out, I think solutions will be easily given to them. But the problem is the culture of silence, that culture of silence in women. And I think women have great opportunities that men in some aspect, because like if you're a woman and you're trying to sort things out, you easily get help. So I would tell them to come out and write their pains, tell their stories. At times it may not even be pains. At times it may serve as mode of inspiration to other people, to other young women out there. So I think I would call them to come out and say their things out.
Now you said people have so many pains, but because of the culture of silence, people are scared to come out and tell their story. Now, how are you able to break this culture of silence?
Yeah, I break my culture of silence through writing. As I said, I have a lot of painful
What gave you the zeal to be able to break it?
Sure, my writing. The writing gave me the zeal. Like, anytime I feel depressed, I don't have, my problem is I don't tell people my worries, because I think that telling people your worries at times doesn't solve. At times it's just spread it out.
So in fact, add salt to the wound.
So what I could do was to write, and when I write, it serves as comfort. It comforts me. Reading my own writing, my pens, and most of the time, if I'm writing, at the end of the poem, or whatever, I write something to motivate myself, to tell myself, well, one day all this will go off. So that's why I write, and it serves as mode of comfort to me.
All right, I'm not going to leave any question here unanswered. Somebody might be wondering or watching that why Kadi left teaching and going to study journalism.
No, I didn't totally leave teaching, and in fact, I still like teaching.
Okay.
Teaching is one of the most...
It's not about liking it, it's about still doing it.
I still like teaching because I like being with kids. I was teaching, and I'm still teaching.
Okay.
I'm still teaching.
So just like your colleague here.
Are you teaching?
I'm teaching. Just like your colleague here, I think he's also a runaway teacher because I've gone through his profile and I've seen that he's studying English language and he was English and a literature teacher.
But today, I taught for 2 good years.
See,
you know.
and today he's becoming a legal luminary. So why is everyone leaving teaching?
I think we have to be very honest here. The teaching field has not been very much encouraging. I think it's one of the most demotivational, fields as far as our service is concerned. I think most of us that found ourselves there were doing it for the passion to serve, out of love for country and also to contribute towards the development of great minds, because our brains were also contributed to by certain people.
Yes,
but I think the conditions there need to be improved. First, the salaries have to be better.
Yes,
second, the learning and teaching environment has to be improved. Like teachers, I can remember in the schools I have taught in, sometimes even the blackboard, you'll have to use your own hand and fix the nails because they are, dilapidated, I could say. Yeah, so that is just one part. And the other thing is teachers have to be treated with much more respect. For example, you don't expect someone that is passing knowledge to students to be spoken to anyhow.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons, in fact, why I left the teaching field was because I wanted to study at the university, and my headmaster,
couldn't give you the chance.
Principal was like, I cannot, because I'm a full-time teacher. I was like, okay, I understand. I signed for this as a full-time staff or whatsoever, but at the end of the day, I'm young and I need to build myself up. So I don't think there's any problem with me going to the university. Whilst so long as I'm serving, the students as I'm supposed to, I don't miss the periods and so on. I think that should be fine.
Very well.
No, okay, we move. So that's basically what led me into leaving the teaching field, and but at the same, like she says, I still love the field. I still love teaching, and I still teach.
Okay.
I go to trainings and lecture people on certain areas, especially when it comes to leadership and public speaking. So I think that is also teaching. And I teach through my poetry as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We don't teach in the classroom.
Okay. I teach my poetry. I use the methodology.
Okay. Kadi, coming back to you, you are not only a writer or an author, but you are already at the University of the Gambia, and then. As a teacher, I've seen so many people like you who want to become university students, but all of a sudden, after graduation, either one or two reasons, they are not at university. So, what sort of motivation can you give to those people who are currently in school or who has left school already and wanted to be where you are?
I would tell them it's never too late. It's never too late. Hence, you have a determination to do whatever in life you can achieve as far as you are living. So I would tell them that the university is there for everybody, and the only thing that they could do is one or two things that they missed to get the requirements to go to the university, to fix those things and step ahead to go. It's very easy. Okay. It's easy like that. Just the motivation. Get self-motivated. If people not encourage you, try and encourage yourself. Motivate yourself and go. Let your dream not die like that.
Okay.
I want to add on to that. I think sometimes you reach a particular level in life that you're the only person that can help yourself.
Okay.
Because we live in a country where sometimes people help only when there is a public platform, or when there are witnesses.
Okay.
To say that, like, it's because of me that he's this and so, right? So usually when you're in need of something, things are not taken care of for you in the secret. You understand? Like people, except if there is a public platform. For some people actually do it, honestly. But some except there's a public exactly. So what you need to do is to understand that you have to become the best version of yourself by first believing in yourself and what your capabilities, and on top of that, maximize your effort and invest in your future much more. Anything that you believe is going to change your life and that of your family and that of the society, make sure you put in the maximum effort to it. Every day, at least do one or two things that would contribute towards that. It is only true that you'll be able to penetrate or break the barrier. That has helped a lot of people. And as we are taking this journey as young people, it has helped some of us, or it is helping some of us as we seek to get to the zenith, and it will help a lot of other people that are out there that want to take up the same, measurements.
Yes, sir. Let's talk about the Before the Win album launching. If you go to the social media, you see the flyers everywhere. What is the biggest expectation of this day?
The biggest expectation of Before the Win is the most fascinating performance ever, witnessed in the country as far as art is concerned. Not just poetry performances, but even musical performances when it comes to dances and other innovative,
I'm very good at that.
You're good at dancing? Looking forward to seeing you on stage. Very innovative, performance packages are in store that only if you attend the program that you're able to see and witness. But one thing I can ask all Gambians,
because not even status posts or short videos on status field make you feel that, okay, I'm there.
No,
so you have to be there.
No, it will never quench your thirst. You have to be there. If you are at the Before the Win album launch, you are never going to miss any event again as far as a poetry album launch organized by myself or any member of my team, because it's going to be fascinating. If you guys understand, it was supposed to hold since 2019, but because of Corona, we could not have it. But now here we are. All the time was used, to brainstorm, prepare more, do better recording. In fact, I had to drop certain, poetry audios.
I'm going for the best quality.
For the best quality. So you're gonna face quality. You would see class. You would see amazing things. Yeah. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Nobody should miss this album.
No,
what's the ticket, the price?
Exactly. So we made it very affordable, so that every Gambian can have the opportunity to go. The advance ticket is 200. The gate ticket is 400, and the VIP is 700.
700. What's the venue again?
Benjamin Hall, Paradise Suites Hotel.
Benjamin Hall, Paradise Hotel. So this is a show for the young people, and this is a show for the future of the young people, and this is a show for the motivation and also to shape, or also, let me say, to shape the future of poetry, shape the future of art. In this country, we all know how the school of art has been neglected in this country. So if young people are coming up to take up that challenge, to take up that responsibility, I think they need every support, ranging from the government, civil society organizations, youth groups. Everybody should come out to support March 12, Before the Win album launching at Benjamin Hall. I am right.
Yes.
All right. Senekejana Hall. Sorry, Benjamin Hall, Senegambia. I'm saying Benjamin Hall and Senegambia.
I don't know.
All right. So, Kadi, when do we expect Kadi when do we expect that Kadi is going to launch his box? Not book now, but box. When do we expect that?
Sure. Let me just go back to Before the Win before I answer that question. And inshallah, 12 March, I think it's in all the platforms. We are already, inshallah, to fill that place.
So that means if you have not
expecting amazing things from Champion.
So that means if you have not made up your mind to be there, I think it's high time that you quickly and swiftly made your mind that, okay, Before the Win, in fact, it's already a win. So when do we expect your own album launching? When do your book launching?
Yeah, I think at first, the time that was scheduled, the preparation, everything could not happen at that time. Just like Champion said, 2019. I think I even saw that in one of the group chats. That he was going to launch his album. It could not because of COVID and other things. Myself in 2019, that was the time I print out some copies of my book, try to seek sponsors to get the books, to get a lot of prints for the books, and also all the launching stuffs. But it was not that easy. So I can say still, my target is this year, 2022, inshallah. So I don't know actually. I don't know what will come out of the things. But I think I'm ready. The books are ready. So the problem is the fund to launch the books.
Kadi, I have this story of myself. Somewhat sad also. I started writing in 2019 or so, late 2019 to 2020. Then along the way, I left for the village, to go. I'm a very good farmer. So before I return, what I wrote already packed, ready to be edited, is spoiled with rainwater. So when I came, open up the back, my certificates and plus what I wrote already to be edited, it's in shambles. So let me use this word for a moment. Alright. So when I open up the back, look at this. In fact, the ink was almost wow. It was very serious for me. So I felt that I'm done with writing. Since then, I've never, in fact, even in class I don't write. So what do you have for me?
Yes.
Who has almost lost hope in writing?
Yeah, I think I also have the same experiences. At times I will write up to nearly done with the stories.
Everything
also,
is destroyed.
Yeah, at times I won't say the books because I almost write in different books. At times I lost my stories, but that not stop me from writing. I still get the idea because already you have already established the idea. You already build the idea on what to write. At times maybe the different will be what you write first and the second one. Now we will see some changes. In fact, maybe the second one will even be better because you built more ideas. So I would encourage you to still write whatever.
But like when I think about the time I spent, the resources and the research, and then I used to be awake the whole night, write, edit myself, and then do a lot of things,
Good. Let me help you.
Yes.
Now, with all the things you are saying here, how about if you had put that into writing to talk about all the challenges that you had to undergo, how much you spent the whole night writing and it is gone and so on. You understand? So that alone is an inspiration to any other writer. Basically, the issue of losing your work has happened to every good writer. Myself here, I can remember that was a year I lost about 50 poems.
Wow.
It was because it was in a book. That's why I even stopped writing poems on my books. Or even if I write on them, that I make sure it's transferred on a digital material.
Wow.
So this is enough inspiration. Why not? And if you're able to come up with something good, then people that would lose their work would really want to come back to it.
Sure.
She just said it. She also has lost, her work at some point. So
Okay.
I think we're in this together.
So I think this is a great inspiration for me.
Yes.
And then anybody out there who has experienced the same thing to at least go back to the drawing board and do something. So finally, Kadis Kesela, what do you have for the young people of the country, especially women, who? But before I ask the question, there is National Assembly elections in April. Have you seen Kadisela running for?
No.
Why?
Politics, yeah, everybody has a passion.
Okay.
You have, there are certain things that you want to do and certain things that you don't want to involve yourself in.
Okay.
To be honest with myself, since at the college, I was encouraged by my friends to be a candidate for our social secretary. And even at the university DA, Debate Association, I was asked to run a welfare ministry. But I said no.
Why?
I don't know, politics is not...
Why no?
Since I was young, I had this dream to become a journalist. And that's the dream that I'm trying to push.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just want to be a journalist and a writer.
But journalistic platform.
Okay. But we have seen journalists in the National Assembly now.
Sure, that's their passion.
Well,
I
like,
just want to be a journalist and a writer.
And a writer, okay.
Yeah.
But finally, what do you have for the young people of the country, especially women, who want to become writers, but the society has caged them to at least remain in their selves? What do you have those people, especially the women?
Yes, I think that is many. That's why, in fact, one of my books, that's my drama, Where Destiny Lies. Okay. I try to speak for voiceless people in the society, pains that women go through, especially young girls in the society. There are so many pains that they go through, but it's very hard for them to say it out because of the silence culture, as I said before. People think that if you're a human, you should always be inside, and you don't have that voice, you don't have that chances as a man to stand and say whatever you think is wrong in the society. But I think women are just like men. We are all almost the same. Even though Islamically we are not that much, but even Islam gave women some priority. I mean, there are certain things that you should come out and say it out. And I think if you don't feel comfortable in going out to the public and say, the best thing you could do is to write. Try to write all your pains, all the wonderful things that are going on with you. Write everything. And those writings, they are going to be reserved. Even if you die, they can be there and they can serve as...
So, but writing is without a challenge. So, what are some of the challenges you face as a writer?
Writing has so many challenges, a lot of challenges. At times when I started writing, in fact, my friends would just look at my book and just laugh at me and say, Kadi, you're very foolish. Just thinking of lies and writing them. That could...
So that's the biggest challenge for you?
Yeah, that could discourage some people. But to me, I said, well, I think one day, inshallah, your children will come with my books. Wow. And they will tell me that you're just writing these ones and they are going to be dusted there. They will be their pack. You'll be the only one reading them. I think those ones are some challenges that we are facing. And I took those ones as encouragement to me. I always make I vowed to myself, telling myself that I think those words that they are telling me, I will try to prove them wrong, try to show them that you said this, but this is what I want to do, and you cannot stop me. So if you have people that are discouraging you to stop writing, they think writing is something very useless, I think you need to tell them no, writing is one of the most important things. It serves as a reserve, even if you're gone. What you write, especially when you write about history, you write about culture and stuff like that, and we're seeing that our culture is fading. And the best thing that we could do is to reserve them by writing. Yeah, I would tell the people to come out, especially young people, to take the bold step into writing. Just like Champion, one day, as he said, you'll be greater than him.
That's sure. Thank you very much, Kadi. We're more glad to have you here. Thank you very much. Champion, finally, what do you have to say to the young people?
Thank you very much. I must say, I am so much delighted once again to speak to my fellow young people, just to give you as much encouragement as possible on the backgrounds of before the win, that before we win anything, there must be certain obstacles that we must be faced with, there must be certain challenges. It might look dark at some point, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I want to encourage every young person. Being a young person, I know how hard it is to live in this country. Sometimes I even say being born in the Gambia alone is a certification of depression, you know, but there's nothing that is impossible. Just strive hard, work hard, focus on your dreams, and make sure you pursue them. One day or the other, you would come to realize that all the efforts have now finally come to fruition. So that's my encouragement to you. And if you want to become a poet like me or a writer like Kadi, of course, just know that the writing space is of course so wide that everybody can be able to fit in. So just come and take your rightful space, write as much as you can, remember, be focused on it, and you will be, you know, one of the most, you know, recognized writers as far as the Gambia is concerned. And I want to take the opportunity as well to encourage the women to come on board, because when it comes to the artistic space, it's been dominated by men. In fact, just like any other sector in the country. But just know that the circle should not be powerful enough to stop you, because you're more powerful than anything else. Come and pursue it. I also wish to take the opportunity to congratulate the Scorpions for their job well done at the AFCON. We are so proud of you, and you have reawakening, you know, the dreams of a lot of Gambians who wanted to become footballers but nearly lost hope. I wish to take the opportunity to, you know, tell the government to do more, you know, for the Scorpions and the aspiring footballers. And finally, of course, you know where I'm going to land at. I am reminding you of the great day, the big event, the event you cannot miss, March 12th, inshallah, at the Pinchami Hall, Paradise Hotel. Start packing, because when you get there, you might be dragged out of the hall because you don't want to leave because of what you see. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Champion, for that wonderful concluding remark. And also, Kadi Silla, we're much glad to have both of you here. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation. With regards to Before the Win album, I think all of us are going to be there. So we are calling all the young people, the government, the civil society organization, and then every Gambian to make this event a success. You know, this is about us, it's about the young people, this is about shaping the industry, this is about giving hope to the hopeless, this is about showing people that we can do it. You know, anybody out there who is skeptical about what you can do, I think the right examples are here. If you are a woman or a girl, you know, who want to pursue a career in writing, I think Kadi Kesila is a perfect example for you. And you are a boy or a young person who want to become a poet or a writer or whatever that you wish to become. I think Omar Champion Cham is a perfect example for you, because they all started from somewhere. You could hear Omar saying that some of the poets that he wrote, some of the early poets that he wrote, sometimes seeing them, you know, is in fact very funny, because that's where he started. So, but it has to start somewhere and then get to where he wanted to go. So with that, I'm going to stop here, and then thank all the viewers for following the Golden Bee Revolution here at Star TV. Till we come your way next week, stay tuned and then enjoy the rest of the program. Thank you very much.